Some people, they make rules to protect themselves, which is good. Everyone has like a different tolerance for how much risk they're willing to take. So I'll give you a quick example. If your goal is to get 10 pips, that's like your ultimate goal. What some people do, and this isn't wrong, this is just their way of doing it, and it's fine. The moment the market gives them 10 pips, they immediately put their stop loss up there so that no matter what, they're going to hit their 10. Now you take a different trader, they have a little bit more risk tolerance, willing to take a bit more risk. The same thing happens. The market goes up 10 pips, but instead of locking in straight to 10, even though they have the same goal, they know that that's too close. I'm going to go to 5 pips. Now I'm locked in for 5, so I'm not going to lose. And now they're waiting to see what it's going to do, because if it keeps going, well, now they can lock in 10 and potentially even 15, potentially even more, as long as they give it a little breathing room. They just have a bigger risk tolerance. Neither one of those is wrong. They both work wonderfully well. It just depends on how much risk you're willing to tolerate in order to hit certain goals and benchmarks. Most of the people that have a very low risk tolerance is because they took some hits. You know, whether it was on their own or with another company, whatever, they took some hits and they don't want to feel that again. What some people fall victim to is they get to 20 pips, they follow their own rules, they get out, and then they're like, oh no, I could have gotten 40, I could have gotten 80, I could have done what these guys did. Don't fall into that trap. Who cares what we did? Care about your goals. It's just, we're just different people.
So what are the secrets? How do some of the most successful entrepreneurs find the freedom that we all got into business for in the first place? How did they find the time, energy, and resources to launch and scale strong? And how do entrepreneurs like us align our time, money, and energy in a way that will allow us to reach what we set out to achieve? These are the key questions, and this community will give you the answers. Welcome to the Prosperity Movement. All right, welcome to the Prosperity U podcast. We're so delighted to have everybody here today. And if you're here for the first time, it's really important that you understand who we are and what we're all about. And our mission is very simple. It's to impact the world by bringing the life-giving principles of prosperity to it. Our vision is to guide our community to back engineer their full power and potential with purpose-driven growth so they can do more of the things they love with the people they love most. And our values they're comprised of the 3 I's. Impact, integrity, and intentionality. So in order to impact the world, we value time, health, relationships, and legacy relentlessly at the highest level. With integrity, we value people over profits, and we are driven and dedicated to the success of our community. And you're going to learn more about that today, so you definitely want to stick around. And with intentionality, we provide result-oriented support through mentorship to ignite an inspired and focused community. And I'm really excited about today's topic and where we're going to be diving into here today because, Zach and I have been really diving in. And you know what? All credit mostly to Zach because he's just an absolute brilliant copywriter and he's an amazing visionary. And he's very honed in on our message. And so we send out, daily emails to new people in our community. And also to people within our community. They get emails from us and constant communication through accountability and consistent support and all that kind of stuff. So everybody's getting messages, but one of the subject lines for our new audiences was a really fun subject line from, what movie was it from, Zach?
It's from Tommy Boy.
From Tommy Boy. And I always in my story I always joke about how I used to live in a van down by the river. That's Chris Farley, right? And in Tommy Boy there's this subject line that we really want to dive into. And what we want to do today is we want to address some of the things that we've learned throughout our journey. Because you know what? We're human beings. We're not perfect. We're constantly evolving. We're constantly growing. So some of the things that we've learned as marketers and people in the space of this trading niche, if you will, and helping as many people as we can through this. But you're going to hear a little bit of, what we've learned through our journey, some of the things that we've done to get to this point and what we've done to recalibrate with what we've learned to bring the absolute best to our community. And then, of course, the new people coming on. But of course, we have to have some fun in the messaging because there's a lot of people out there. And if you're listening to this, whether it's for the first time or you're returning, there's a lot of people out there that have been, for lack of a better term, been taken advantage of in this space. Us also included in that. It's why we've created the infrastructures that we have for our community. And some of the messaging that goes out in marketing and some of the mistakes that a lot of other organizations are making. And these are some of the things that maybe we've kind of gotten caught into a little bit ourselves. And again, adjusting with what we've learned with FTC compliance and all that kind of stuff. But to make some light of it and to have some fun, Zach has a clip from Tommy Boy to get us teed up into the topic today. So we'll get started there.
Perfect. Let's see. Share sound. Here we go.
I like your line. I like your prices. But there's a problem. There's no guarantee on the box. But it's not on the box. It should always be on the box. Comforting you. Calling out. I'm good. I'll never let you down. But if I do, I'm going to make things all better. My customers need to see that little label looking them right.
You want to talk about guarantees, then...
Fellas, you just ran out of time. Chicken wings.
Let's think about this for a sec, Ted. Why would somebody put a guarantee on a box? Very interesting.
Go on, I'm listening.
Here's the way I see it, Ted. Guy puts a fancy guarantee on a box because he wants you to feel all warm and toasty inside.
Yeah, makes a man feel good.
Of course it does. Why shouldn't it? You figure you put that little box under your pillow at night, the guarantee fairy might come by and leave a quarter. Am I right, Ted?
What's your point?
The point is, how do you know the fairy isn't a crazy glue sniffer? Building model airplanes, says the little fairy. Well, we're not buying it. He sneaks into your house once, that's all it takes. Next thing you know, there's money missing off the dresser and your daughter's knocked up. I've seen it 100 times.
But why do they put a guarantee on the box, then?
Because they know all they sold you was a guaranteed piece of shit. That's all it is, isn't it? Hey, if you want me to take a dump in a box and mark it guaranteed, I will. I got spare time. But for now, for your customer's sake, for your daughter's sake, you might want to think about buying a quality product from me.
Okay, I'll buy from you.
Oh, that's... What?
Apparently they have.
Oops. That's amazing.
Oh man, I love that. I love that movie. I love Chris Farley. He's so good. But yeah, man, like Travis, of all of us here, like we started learning about some of the FTC kind of guidelines and all that kind of stuff through, I think it was Anik Singhal, that you have gone through some of his courses, and then we took our entire board through that information, and we started recalibrating everything from that, and not so much recalibrating, but kind of adjusting and kind of like where would you kind of like take it from here with based on, because you're kind of the forefront of what we've made decisions with surrounding what you gathered.
That was the first time that I've seen that clip. It was funny, and it's also basically what the FTC is saying as well. And the idea behind a guarantee on the box, the guy's like, it makes you feel good. It makes you tell you that I'll never go wrong. But if I do, then we'll help you out some way. So it's like this oxymoron that it's not literally guaranteed. It's just that there are some ways in which the company can help in case of potential issues, right? And so the FTC looks at a guarantee as to be deceiving, to say that this is you're lying to your customer. There's no way that you can guarantee that this light bulb is going to work for exactly 100 hours, right? You don't see into the future. You can't say that. But what you can say is that we value our product. We think it's a quality product. If it has issues before this kind of timing, then we will help you and replace it for you for free, right? So it does the same thing, but without using the wrong words, which are for some people, I guess, confusing. And so they look at the guarantee on this light bulb means that it cannot fail, right? Which is not true. We don't know that. And so ultimately what we're doing with our stuff is that instead of giving it the label of guarantee, we just have a really, really generous refund policy that basically has the exact same wording, but we're not leading it with the idea that there is no possibility of risk, right? Because there's always risk or potential issues in anything that you're doing. And so really all we're doing is what Chris Farley was doing, which is like, well, forget the guarantee and just buy the quality product, right? Like that's what he was saying. The guarantee doesn't matter. And that's very befitting for this as well. So nothing effectively has changed with how we conduct business and what we do for our customers. We're just saying it a little bit more clear context for everybody that, hey, our number one goal is to be here to help you become a full-time trader. Here's how we do it and what we will do if you have issues. XYZ. Very, very blatant, right?
Yeah. And with that being said, what would we kind of I know the answer to this. There's two simple answers to this question, but like what is really setting Prosperity Movement apart from any other educational platform out there today?
Well, number one is the actual support of being able to jump in and connect with other people, whether it's directly with someone like James or Zach or right, or having another community of other people who are equally, invested and ventured into the idea of sharing camaraderie in the pursuit of individual full-time trading, right? So the support is probably the single most, I shouldn't say probably, it's the most distinguishing of being able to connect and actually get assistance where needed in numerous different ways, right? You said there's two specific ones that you're thinking about. I'm not sure if I know
So
exactly what's
I
on
would
your
go
mind.
ahead and say that the second one would be the accountability. So the
Sure.
way I describe it is again this unparalleled support system. So where else are you going to be able to actually get on live calls with a world-renowned master trader like James Leone? And you corrected me the other day. I said 21,000 pips last year. What was the pip counter at for total pips that James has acquired in last year? Was it something like
28,356 pips exactly on closed trades, including all losses and break evens. That's the total
Yeah,
pip gained.
right.
Does not include swings that went from 23 to 24.
Right.
So
Okay. So
that
does
was
not
just
that those we're
closed.
talking scalp trades on live calls. So this is not swing trades. Is not anything else. This is just his scalp trades on live calls with other students that he's tracking the pips that were garnered on that call. And out of so the anomaly of James is a total of 18 pips lost over 5 plays. So like that is like insane. So where else are you going to find that kind of track record where you get to be hands on deck live on live calls with world renowned master trader James Leone? And then also what has being added to right now is Zach is also doing very, very more intense. Like for those that are wrestling, he's working more intently with those. So you're now getting one-on-one coaching. You can get one-on-one coaching from James. You get one-on-one coaching with Zach, as well as like a little bit more intimate group coaching calls with Zach to go into more depth and detail. I just don't know of any. I've never seen or heard of anything on that level. Plus the accountability system. So part two again was this accountability system, and what this does is again James preaches this very what gets measured gets managed approach. And we also understand that, most people go to the gym on New Year's Day and they're going to sign up for a gym membership. And then what percentage of people are actually walking away with the results that they want by the end of the year? I think it's very similar to the percentage of people that go to college and university and actually apply it in the marketplace, which is around the 23% range, if not less. Right. So like you've got very little people. So what we're doing to hold people accountable to get the results that they want is holding them accountable to measuring and managing themselves, which means that they are
Which is
actually
what
tracking and then doing a weekly submission to be able to get access to extra calls.
Yes, and that's kind of what I wanted to clarify earlier because to me, at least, it does sound a little bit too good to be true that James only had an 18 pip loss last year total. And the reason behind it is not because he's unable to err or make mistakes, but because he follows a very specific plan with very specific parameters, and he holds himself accountable to that. And that's what we're trying to teach on that bifold of support and accountability is pretty simple. That's James trades when there is blatant, obvious signals and everything aligns. Okay. When it doesn't, typically he's just not going to make the trades. But there have been a few times where he thought, well, this one could be right. It kind of everything seems to align, and those are where that 18 pips came from. Because otherwise, there are no trades being made if there's
More
no
times than
clear
not,
signals.
the way that James describes those moments when those have happened are moments when he's been wildly distracted by something else, like buying a gun.
Yeah. So with the 18
doing
pips
something,
of
doing something that he
losses,
shouldn't have been doing while he was on the call.
yeah.
For
So the
those that don't know,
accountability
that
aspect of
James is a
things.
gun enthusiast, and he's always sending us pictures of new guns that he's buying.
Go for it, Travis. The accountability, what?
I'm waiting. um, Basically, the accountability side of things, the support is to help you along the way with understanding and applying the strategy, right? Or the information that we have, the way in which we trade. And the accountability is to make sure that you do it consistently over time. It's really easy for people to get lost in the weeds of feelings,
Hmm.
and the market doesn't care. So it's a mechanical approach when you're trading, right? And the accountability portion, I think, is mostly hinged on the issue of the feeling side of humanity, like what makes us human.
Yeah.
So it's just a clarification, really, from the wild gains and the lack of really big losses. How does that happen, and how can someone else do that as well, right? But we're kind of getting a little bit veered off of, I think, of topic for today. It's the idea of kind of this newfound what we've been doing differently here. Bryan, did you have some ideas that we wanted to talk about this specifically?
No, I just thought that it was a good place to start was those concepts, and then
Sure.
getting into again what does make us a little different, and well, a lot different. But then, there's other things that I would be looking at here again, on the blueprint where you've got statistic resources, like it's 24 statistics why most traders lose money, Forex trading industry statistics, like what makes us different that allows us to actually move past some of those big challenges that people are facing with is some of the questions
I think.
that
Well,
I
I
think a
think
lot of people would have.
in a word, I would say clarity is the word, because what I've noticed. So, um, before this year, I was trading a different kind of trading. I was doing binary trading, right? This is my first year actually diving into James's type of trading, which is Forex, and I've been doing pretty well over my first 6 months, right? Um, and it's not because I'm like a trading prodigy by any means. It's actually because I understand this concept of follow the rules, make a plan, follow the plan, regardless of how you feel. That's it. And what I've been able to do now that I feel comfortable enough and experienced enough to actually start helping people with that and coaching them through it, I found that I've been able to help them get clarity surrounding their own behaviors. There's this concept where if you can like label something, their labels are powerful, right? They can be powerful negatively for people. They can also be powerful on a positive front. And so by being able to like clearly label behaviors while you're trading, it's turns out it's kind of a night and day difference. Okay. So like to give you an example, so and if any of you have ever traded before, this is likely gonna resonate with you and you're gonna be like, yep, been there, felt that, right? So I'll give you an example is when you enter a trade, and I'm referring to scalping 1 minute candles, right? So 1 minute time frame. And you enter a trade, and then the trade kind of starts to go the way you thought. Let's just say it's a buy. You push buy, and it starts to kind of go up, but then it kind of comes down to where you started, and then it's like teasing you a little bit, and then it starts to go the wrong way a little bit and teasing you. And what ends up happening is you think, okay, it's too much. I don't know which way it wants to go. And you close the trade for a break even or something like that, or even worse, maybe a little bit of a loss. You close the trade, and then the very next minute, the sucker goes the way you wanted it to go in the first place, right? So what do you feel when that happens? You typically feel a ton of FOMO. You feel like it's not fair. You feel like, what the heck? I was right this whole time. Okay, those feelings are actually hurting you. Instead of kind of judging yourself, if you will, or having those feelings, evaluate. Say, okay, what might I do differently next time? Right? I exited early. Maybe I can create a rule, a very clear and distinct rule to tell me when I'm allowed to exit if it's going the wrong way. What's my, I'm waiting for this line or what have you. And then you just follow it, regardless of how you feel. You might be nervous because it's playing with you the wrong direction, but you have a rule set in place. You follow that rule. Worst case scenario, you're going to, lose 4 pips or whatever it is. Okay. But best case scenario, that sucker's you're going to trust your analysis. Your analysis said it's going to go up. You wait for it, follow your rules. Before you know it, you're hitting some good pips. Right. And so people, they get emotional about the market when it starts to tease you a little bit instead of trusting their own analysis and following their own rules. And so
with that being said, Zach, do you think it's more important for people to be certain about their trades and the information, or to be clear on their trading plan?
Clear, 100%. So you never know what the market, just because you follow the plan doesn't mean you're not going to lose. You may lose, but from a probability standpoint, you're not going to lose a lot. You're going to be significantly profitable in the long run, right? This week, give you a quick example for my trading this week. I had one day where I lost 6 pips. The rest of my week, I got at least 10. Today, I actually got 80 pips. So you just, every once in a while, I followed my rules to a T, lost 6 pips. Okay, cool. As James says, I took it on the chin. Came back the next day, followed the same rules, ended up with like 12 pips, right? Then the next day, today, I got 80 pips following the exact same rules.
I might be giving away
corner,
a little
right?
much of an email that's coming out here soon, but like because I get to review those things, but you had written and I reviewed, and you had mentioned, everybody's going to be a little different in their approach. And today, although you got 80 on that call, there are some people that pulled 10, there are some people that pulled 20, and they were following their rules. And so like this, you want to dive a little bit into those concepts?
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a really important concept, because even in that scenario, so this was happening on one of James's calls where I got the 80 pips. James makes it so simple for me. Just follow what he says. But some people, they make rules because, to protect themselves, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has like a different tolerance for how much risk they're willing to take. So I'll give you a quick example. If your goal is to get 10 pips, that's like your ultimate goal. What some people do, and this isn't wrong, this is just their way of doing it, and it's fine. What some people do is the moment the market gives them 10 pips, they immediately put their stop loss up there so that no matter what, they're going to hit their 10. And then a lot of times, though, when they do that, they know that they're doing it too tight. They're too close to where the price action actually is. And then lo and behold, the price action will take them out. They got 10 pips. Okay. Now you take a different trader and they have a little bit more risk tolerance. They're a little more willing to take a bit more risk. The same thing happens. The market goes up 10 pips, but instead of locking in straight to 10, even though they have the same goal, they know that, that's too close. I'm going to go to 5 pips. Now I'm locked in for 5, so I'm not going to lose. That's good. And now they're waiting to see what it's going to do, because if it keeps going, well, now they can lock in 10 and potentially even 15, potentially even more, as long as they give it a little breathing room, right? They just have a bigger risk tolerance. Neither one of those is wrong. They both work wonderfully well. It just depends on how much risk you're willing to tolerate in order to hit certain goals and benchmarks, right? And so we understand this. This is something I'm working with our trading coaches on this. Like, we have to be flexible with them in their decisions in the market and understanding, exactly what is their goal, how much risk are they willing to take. And the most of the people that have a very low risk tolerance is because they took some hits. whether it was, on their own or with another company, whatever, they took some hits. They don't want to feel that again, right? What can actually happen though, understanding that is important, because today, for example, the market went up. Some people were like, hey, I got 20 pips. And other people are like, I'm still in, I'm still going, right? And then they get out at 40 pips. They're like, okay, all right, I'm out at 40 pips. And then me and a couple others were like, well, we're still in, we're following our rules, and we have a little more risk tolerance. We're still in, and we ended up with 80. And there's a guy in there that got 100 pips today. So that's just different layers. But what some people fall victim to is they get to 20 pips. They follow their own rules, which are a little bit tighter than mine. They get out, and then they're like, oh no, I could have gotten 40. I could have gotten 80. I could have done what these guys did. Don't fall into that trap. Who cares what we did? Care about your goals. If your goal is 10, you got 20, pat yourself on the back. That's absolutely amazing, right? It's just, we're just different people, and we're willing to take a little bit more risk because we're more used to it, and we've got a little higher skill set, right?
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it just would have meant too, like what you're saying with that 5 pip, and the goal is at bare minimum 10, like that's your bare minimum goal. But you did a 3 or 5 pip stop loss. It just meant that you were going to take another play. But after you got your 80, did you have any thought on taking another play?
Nope, I was done.
You're good. Like you're fine. You
Ryan,
nailed it.
how you comment sometimes about how when you go to unplug from business and work, it's really hard for you. When Travis goes to unplug, I just fall asleep. I'm like totally away. That's kind of the same concept in a nutshell. That once Zach got to his 80 pips, well, did you think about doing more? Nah.
Yeah.
I was unplugged after that. And,
but here's proof in
to...
the pudding that it can be trained, though, because I'm with you on that now. Like I can easily, I'm a lot better than last year or the year before. Yeah. You guys can admit that is very much different. Yes, like I used to be always I gather ideas now and I write them down and I wait until the next meeting. But before I used to call you guys probably 3-4 times.
Yeah. Following your own path and your own rules, your own trading plan is so vital, because Zach, what you're picking up and picking out is FOMO, a fear of missing out. And like, why are you fearful of that if you're following your own plan? And ultimately, at the end of the day, I think most of us are trading for kind of the same reason. It's not so much to be the next most wealthy person in the world, but rather to have this, sort of financial liberation. And that's different for everybody. I saw a post on Facebook the other day, and forgive me, I can't remember who the guy was, but he was saying that financial freedom that everybody wants doesn't have to be millions of dollars. Like, for example, if you can figure out how to have some sort of mostly passive income for $4,000 a month, and your bills are $2,000 a month, which I don't know how long ago he wrote that. That seems a little bit shallow right now. But the point is that if you do, then you have $2,000 extra a month for kind of miscellaneous things and otherwise financial freedom, right? And for some other people, like for me, I can't fathom a budget of $2,000 a month. And so I need a little bit more. And so I would have a different plan and a different portfolio, a different everything than this other person in that scenario. And someone would look at my budget and be like, oh, no, I can't do that. I need a lot more than that. And so they would have a different plan and so on and so forth. So why are you judging yourself based off of somebody else's gains? To say, go back to the pips, right? Someone else is like, oh, I'm still in, I'm getting 80, and I'm over here, I only had 40, and someone else is like, I only had 20, but it meets all of our needs anyways. Just focus on you. And I mean, I think in general, just like as a philosophical thought, people are overly concerned about other people. And it's an emotional 100%. Thing, and it helps us in other ways. But in this instance, it could be really detrimental.
100%.
So pointing out something like this, like the differences in risk tolerance, and helping our traders understand that it's totally okay to walk away with less than someone else in a group session. That's one of those clarity items that you just don't get with other platforms. Other platforms, all they do is focus on the strategy, right? They're just like, yeah, when all the lines are like this, you do that. entries are easy. Are you kidding me? That's the easiest part. The hard part is managing a trade. And
Mhm.
everyone manages the trades differently based on their risk tolerance. And that's
Right.
never talked about.
Mhm.
And so what we've done over here, at first, we had the group sessions. And of course, if anyone needed extra help, we would get on a Zoom call. I would get on Janelle, Matt, Dave, James. We'd all, get on and help someone set up a chart or help them get some more clarity. But now what I've just recently implemented it is we're doing what I'm calling private trading sessions of 3 to 5 people.
Yeah.
And they're trading with me. And the way we're doing it is they're going to watch me trade a couple times, and then I'm going to have them trade in front of the little group a couple times, right? And then the next person, and then the next person, and then together we're going to continue to grow, right? And that's go ahead.
Sorry, share some of the results that you're getting from that already, because that's what's exciting. So we've got 10 minutes before I gotta lock this in. But there's two things that I want to cover before we close this call. So I want you to continue the thought process of where you're going, and
Yeah.
also share like the actual results from this week's calls from that, because you got to share a little bit with me earlier, and I think that's amazing. So I want to hear a little bit of that. Maybe don't share last names. I don't know if we can share first names, but some of those things are really great. And then also what we have on the docket for some of what we're sharing in the upcoming week with the PIP tracking from this year, and for those that are new, what they're going to be able to be a fly on the wall with, sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, I would say there's two individuals in particular that I really appreciated their attitude on the private session, because so far not everyone's had the greatest attitude. Sometimes it's early morning and we got to get the grumpies out. But there were two individuals in particular that were hungry, we'll say. And both of these guys were kind of borderline struggling. Sometimes they would be doing well, and then other times they would start to struggle, and it was kind of a back and forth, which, by the way, is one of the most annoying patterns in trading. If you've ever experienced that, we call, what did we used to call that? We used to call that the something circle. I can't remember what we used to call it, but basically you just keep.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
We used to, because it happened in binary too. Basically, you make some gains, and then you lose those gains. You're back at square one, and then you just
the
keep doing
crazy
that.
cycle. It's like
Yeah.
yo-yo. You're on
And that's kind of what these two guys were doing. And so what was cool is when I traded with them, literally, I asked them at the end of the call, what did you get from that? And they both like said some little detail that I had mentioned that they never even thought of, that they were like, oh my gosh, that's all I needed. Clarity, right? Like I said, that's the word, clarity. Since then, both of these guys have done nothing but winning all week. This was the first time I met with them was last week at the end of the week.
It's almost always, at least from my perspective, just one or two, a handful of little tweaks
Yep.
that people struggle with identifying themselves. And the cool thing is I get to watch you year over year be able to work with folks and kind of find these little, how your brain works is just mysterious, man.
That's what everyone said.
It's crazy. So you're finding all these little intricacies that somehow can be woven into the tapestry of our strategy, or into the education, or into the support structures, or into the tracking systems. And you're like, okay, it'll fit best over here. And then it just is another game changer, and that's the point of the program with everybody, is that first and foremost, it is not go through and watch my videos and learn. It's come trade with us. And if you trade by yourself, record it so that we can see what you've done and get feedback from us. Like, that is the front line, because it is always, 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 always the best way to learn.
Yeah.
And then as you keep finding all of these pieces of the puzzle to make it just better, then it's crazy to watch it grow.
Go through the education, because you need the foundations. But like we say, the education is never going to be enough. No matter where you go, there's always going to be points of clarity that are missing in a video. That's what always frustrated me about before we got into doing what we were doing and having the support systems that we have, is that in other organizations, before we started doing our own thing, like, it was always like, did you watch the video? Yeah, I watched it like 5 times. And you always feel like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And nothing is more frustrating than not knowing what you're doing wrong. And it's just certain things like in life that you don't do certain things without being guided by somebody who has like even in the workplace, if there's a new position, that person doesn't fill that position just with a video course or like a PDF file or like, a stack of documents. They don't take on those positions like that. Positions get filled with experience, and you get guided through. If your position's getting filled, you're guiding someone through into that position. Do you know what I mean? So mentorship is everywhere, and worth anything, you're getting that guidance. Professional sports, you've got teammates and you've got a coach, and everybody's being held accountable. You're watching game tapes. Like there's consistencies in being guided through that process. Like most really high level athletes have a trainer that are training them next level and that are holding checks and balances. And so why would anybody think that it's going to be any different with trading, that you're not going to need that extra kind of support, but yet no one else is doing it. Right.
Yeah.
So here we have it, and it's available like in a lifetime package right now. And we're not going to be able to do that forever. I mean, I think that over time we're going to be able to get people to get to the same levels as the coaches that we have, the frontline coaches that we have now, and we'll probably be able to scale out that way. But I don't know that we're going to be able to do this on this level for absolutely forever. Things are going to have to evolve as we go and as we grow. But like, where do you get that? And talk about the gift that Zach has. Like, not only does he have that gift in the brain to be able to break all those things down and guide people through it, but that's the deal, is that you're a master at guiding people through. I've seen so many people come through, be absolutely frustrated, and then you get on a call with them and they feel so much at peace because you've helped them like fill a gap, and I think that's so invaluable.
I think it's the lack of clarity. I think God blessed me with the gift of communication. Actually, all three of us are really gifted with communicating. And so basically I just like to communicate what I learned.
Sweet.
And it provides the clarity that people are missing. Oh, yeah. Guys going live.
Killer guy.
What did I miss?
He met the numbers, so he's been measuring and managing, and he's been, working really hard in demo.
Oh,
and he's met the requirements needed to go live this month. Took a week for the transaction to go through via Coinbase and broker, but it will be live starting Tuesday.
Oh,
which
that's
is
so great.
Huge, man. That is so cool.
I'm so excited
awesome.
for you.
Yeah.
68% win rate, 2.55 hold percentage.
Ooh, see, ladies and gentlemen, take notes. This man knows his June 3rd. Okay, 51 trades with 68.1%. That's his win rate.
Dude.
And then a 2.55% hold percentage.
My hold percent this month was 1.72. So his is way higher than mine. Good job, guy. So basically what that means, the hold percentage there, it just basically
means he's going to be making more money than you.
Yeah, he's making more money. Great job, guy. Very well.
That's like a 70%. Like average that off to a 70% win rate.
So
That's
imagine
killer.
your holding percentage is over 10 different trades. You win 9 of them. That's a 90% win rate. And each time you win, you're winning $1. But on the 10th trade, 10% of the time, you'll lose $10 at a time. That's what the holding percentage is important to. My wife knows that I'm on a podcast right now. And she's calling me.
Answer it. Let's do it on the. Just kidding.
But the holding percentage is basically calculating how much are you on average winning, how much are you average losing when you do win and you do lose, and what's the difference between it, right? Because if you're winning 90% of the time for $1 trades, but every 10th trade you make is a $10 loss, you're losing money, no matter how great your winning percentage is.
Right.
And so we got to keep track of that kind of data. And so it looks like Guy is kicking your butt, bud.
Yeah, he's kicking your butt, bro. That's
awesome.
awesome.
We're not supposed to compare. Remember?
Guy's
Guy's doing great.
It's good.
Guy, those
good.
are
But
those
that's
are fighting
been a
words.
long time coming. That's been a lot of practice. That's been consistency. Guy moved things around with his job and everything to like focus on this. So this is so cool. And Guy also comes from a background, and I know he shares it openly, and I share it openly. You know, people learn at different rates. In school, I needed a teacher's aide, man. Like I was slow going, but slow growing in some areas.
Bryan was dropped on his head a few too many times as a kid.
I found out that back in the day, my mom was smoking when she was pregnant with me, and back in the day, they didn't. That was in the '80s, so that was a that was a normal thing. They had the ads were very different back then, so now it's really horrible, but back then I
When we
guess
were
it
in
was a
Texas
regular
for
thing.
my brother's wedding, I tried desperately to convince my wife that my mom smoked with my older brother while she was pregnant with him. My wife didn't believe me.
Yeah. but anyway,
But
yeah.
anyways, you
So
got to get going, don't you, Bryan?
I do, but yeah, before we do, really quick, can we squeeze in like what we've got coming up this week and the messages for this pip counter and the focus on
Yeah.
what James has got going on?
Yeah, so I'll make it kind of brief here. So, little sneak peek. If you're not a member with us yet, we have been for years now trying to figure out a way. How do we give someone a sneak peek into what they can possibly be a part of without giving away all of our strategies and intellectual property and all these things that people pay good money for, right? How do we do that? So we brainstormed, and we actually figured out a kind of a cool way to do it. So next week in the emails, if you're not a member yet, you will actually get a video starting on Tuesday, and it's a recording of this week's trading session on this week's Tuesday's session. Okay. And so basically, though, it's James going through his trades and calling out the trades and walking through managing the trade, but you just don't see the indicators. It's going to be just a naked chart, is what it's called. So no indicators, just the bars. And we'll
Buck
circle.
naked trading. No.
That's right. That's right.
Trading.
So we'll circle where he's entering and where he's leaving, and you can actually get a glimpse of like, oh, that's how he does it. He said he's waiting for this price. It hit that price, and then he said, great, if it crosses this line, it can't come back down. Oh, came back down. I'm out with 10 pips. You can witness that and kind of get a feel for what that's actually like. Of course, you can't see our indicators and our strategy, but you
So
can
what you're
still get a
saying is
glimpse.
that they're going to be able to see proof in the pudding,
You're going to
Zach?
see proof in
They'll
the
be able
pudding.
to see
You're going
him
to get
call
to
out
see
the
the actual
trades?
results of these live calls. You're going to get to see it like a fly on the wall, get to hear it and see it.
Yeah.
Hear James live in action. I think we're going to start posting this stuff on YouTube and all that kind of stuff as well. So
Yeah. So you should be excited. If you've been waiting because you're just not sure, you're on the fence or whatever, just wait. Next week we'll give you some samples. This is a little sneak
now's the time, man. Like we've made the tuition this week until Friday, the lowest it's ever been, the lowest it's ever going to be. If this is potentially well received, we'll see. Going to talk about it as a board. We'll see if we can continue potentially expanding that because it is summer. But like genuinely, if you have not jumped in, like now's the time, because again, with this level of support and everything that we talked about on this call, the value of this is like easily 10 times more than what we're coming at this right now. We've made this attainable to the average Joe and Jane. We've made student financing so simple that we're talking about $200 to $300 a month to get access to world-renowned master trader James Leone and all of this kind of support lifetime, and it's fixed. So like anybody and their dog that has a credit score over 650 can make this work. And if you can't, we've also got other options on how to assist you to get into a proper position and all that kind of stuff. So we want to encourage as many people and help as many people as we can to develop more skill sets so they can drive more impact and income so you can ultimately do more of the things you love with the people you love most. That's it. That's all. And so if you want to go to our website, prosperitymovement.online, and there's a little chat bubble at the bottom right-hand corner, and you just want to go in there and just say, hey, gift, just subject line gift, put in your information, ask for the gift. We'll send you the blueprint completely complimentary. That is going to do two things. One, it's going to help you with your due diligence to figure out whether or not Prosperity Movement truly is the best fit for you, which, I mean, come on. And then the next thing is going to prepare you for your success. So encouraging you to go ahead and do that. And we want to wish you all the best in health, wealth, and relationships. God bless. Chat soon. Bye for now.
Yes.
Cheers.
Yeah.